of us to share our Thanksgiving thoughts in a lot of different ways, which is what today is all about, right? Bless on. So Meister Eckhart said, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. And it's so true. So I want to start off with something that still amazes me. Dr. Emoto. Anybody remember Dr. Emoto? I had the opportunity of hearing him live, and it was just incredible. Yeah, the water guy. And so what he did was he exposed water to different things, words, pictures. He took water into different gatherings, right? And exposed it, even sounds, right? He just exposed it. And it changed the molecular structure of the water crystal. He would freeze them, he would expose them, and then he would freeze it and take pictures of the water crystals. He's got a book out there, he's got a wonderful website. But he had exposed them to things like love and gratitude and anger and hate and fear and doubt. He exposed them to all of these things. And he used different water from different regions of the world. And when the water was blessed or shown loving words, they were perfectly symmetrical. They became beautiful, like snowflakes radiating beauty. But then when they were exposed to something that was harsh or negative, right, they were very chaotic looking. They had like no real consistent form. But when he combined the words love and gratitude, the result was the most stunning photo of all. Jeff, can you show him the picture? All right, cool. Because what happens is when he did love and gratitude together, these are the different symbols. These are the different things that showed up. You can see I will kill you was not very well received by the water, right? So, love and gratitude. Look at how beautiful that is. It's a perfect 6-point crystal, like a blooming flower. He said, it was as if the water had rejoiced and celebrated itself into a flowering bloom. The water was rejoiced. So this is where it all gets personal, right? Because our bodies are made up to 60 or 70% water, depending on who you listen to. Our bodies. That means every thought we think, every word we speak, every emotion we carry, we're literally imprinting part of our body with that. How is that for really cool? Right? So when we express love and gratitude, we don't only just feel better, right? But we're changing, we're reordering the molecular harmony within our body. And studies have proven that, right? That laughter and joy can really aid in healing. It can actually be healing. When we are in our glory, we have changed the spiritual alchemy of our internal system. We're changing the entire vibration of our being. Think about how powerful our thoughts are, our emotions. Joe Dispenza says, gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. When you are grateful, you signal to the universe that you already have it. And that very state is which draws it to you. Ernest Holmes in the textbook, appreciation, gratitude, and thanksgiving are the motivating powers which attract and magnify all the hidden potentialities of life. So, basically, modern science and spiritual wisdom say the same thing. That gratitude changes everything. That we, each and every one of us, has that power and that potentiality to be and do anything and everything. So there's so much to be grateful for. And one of the things to be grateful for is that we're living in today's world, because we were all brought here, I believe, we're all here because the world needs all of us right here and right now, being the very best, the most divine, loving oneness of power that we can be. If we go back to colonial America, it would take almost a year for a woman to put together a shirt. A year. The first microwave oven is taller than a refrigerator, weighed 750 pounds, and you had to have a plumber hook it up for you. The longest sermon on record, 48 hours and 18 minutes, delivered in 1955 to a congregation of 8. I promise we will not be breaking that record here anytime soon, yes. But think about what we have to be grateful for. We flip a switch and the light is on, right? We can FaceTime or Zoom anyone, anywhere in the entire world instantly. We can instantly connect that way. We have hot water, we have fresh fruit in January. Can you imagine fresh fruit in January? It's not as good as it is in September, but it's good. And we have access to the knowledge that used to be reserved just for royalty, if we think about it, for that upper class. But it's all available to all of us right here and right now. Think about all that we've got to be grateful for. And what I loved about today's reading is that idea of, we spend so much time getting and getting and getting and getting, thinking that all of that getting is going to get us to where we want. And then, as Kipling said, if you just meet someone who's just happy because they're happy, you realize that all that getting was for nothing. You see, we live in a time as humans, especially I think as Americans, where we need to analyze and judge and compare, right? We kind of like live in our heads. We've got to make lists and we weigh options, right? Count the good and the bad and see which one wins. We keep score. But when we live in our hearts, when we live there, which is where gratitude takes us, the whole world opens up to us because we are truly in receivership. Because when we are in our hearts, we are part of something greater. We're part of that one power, that love. Brené Brown, she did a lot of research and a lot of study. And part of her focus was on gratitude. And she talked to so many people. And she discovered that people who are consistently experiencing joy are the ones that are consistently practicing gratitude. Even when times are hard, when things are tough, even when the last thing you want to do is open up your heart. When you do that, when you open up that heart, pleasure just shows up. She writes, it's not joy that makes us grateful, it's gratitude that makes us joyful. Gratitude that makes us joyful. Greg Braden, he's another one who writes about gratitude. When gratitude and compassion are felt together, the heart and the brain enter a state of harmony that can literally change the field around us. That's what Emoto proved, right? We literally are always changing the field around us. We are changing the field. And when I change my field, because we're one, I'm not just changing this, I'm changing. And I get to bring everybody with me. They don't even know I'm bringing them with me. But they are. When we live from that place of gratitude, we can move out of chaos and we can move into love and peace. We can be walking breathing blessings. We get to be a blessing, a recognizable blessing, a recognizable presence in the world, as expansive as we allow it to be. So, the distance between one's head and one's heart, those 18 inches, sometimes it feels like a chasm, right? Because there's just so much crazy. But it's only 18 little inches. And the quickest way to get out of our head and into our heart, I believe, is through service. Right? Again, receivership. What we give, we get back, pressed down and multiplied. Be it our time, our talent, or our treasures. And treasures for me is more than just money. It's that gift of giving ourselves by being fully present. We talked about that Wednesday at our last book discussion on spiritual economics, because I can't remember what day Giving to the Max was. I think it was Thursday, right? Thursday? So we as a group decided we were going to give to the max of ourselves, of our time and of our talents and of our treasures. And we agreed that we would be fully present and available to listen when somebody was speaking, not trying to figure out what else I was going to say, but to be fully present, to put down the phone, stop scrolling, and just say hi to somebody. Think about how easy that is, and yet we're being of service. It doesn't cost us anything to be of service. Michael Singer, he wrote The Untethered Soul, which is a lovely, lovely read. He says, the moment you let go of trying to control everything, the heart opens and gratitude flows. Gratitude. It's a verb. Think about it. It's a verb. It's in motion. It's love made visible, whether it's holding a door or buying a meal or donating a pair of socks, whatever it is love and it is gratitude, and it is a 6-point piece of beauty. The Dalai Lama once said, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Gratitude and service, it's the same, it's two sides of the same coin. It really is. When we give, we feel grateful. When we feel grateful, we naturally want to give more. And that is the circulation of life, that circle. So Reverend Nancy Zala, years ago in the Science of Mind magazine, wrote the most beautiful article, and she was it was about her first Sunday at the Agape Center teaching Sunday school. And she had 3, and 4-year-olds in her gathering. And so she took these toddlers, she puts them in a circle, and she says, okay, let's each name one thing that we love, one thing that we're grateful for. Silence, which, by the way, would happen here if I asked that question. Nobody would say a thing. But anyway, silence. Their eyes got really big, but there was nothing being said. And so she kind of asked Raphael, who was next to her, she's like, do you want to start? And she just shook her head no, and she went around the circle, nobody. And then she got to Brian, and Brian, he was just like, I can't hold it anymore. Brian's like, yes, I am grateful for pets and food and cows and berries and flowers and rains and videos and stars and chicken soup and yellow crayons and butterflies and clouds. I'm grateful for me because I get to do all of those things I want to do. It started a trend. And before long, everybody had something they were loving. Everybody had something that they wanted to give thanks for. Everybody was full of joy, full of gratitude. And even Rafaela was grateful for her face. It's just once we get it started, but we have to take time to get it started. We have to take time to get those 18 inches. Just 18 little inches. When we finally realize how blessed something is in our world, everything else just sort of bubbles up. It bubbles up from within, which is a lovely place for it to come from. That's the energy that will heal this world. That is the energy that will heal our lives and heal our relationships, heal our bodies. It is that energy. Because here's the thing. Gratitude isn't just an emotion. It's actually a spiritual practice. It's a spiritual discipline. And the more we spend time in there, the better off our life goes. Now, I don't want us to pretend like everything's okay, right? I recognize that everything's not okay, right? And sometimes we feel like there is nothing to be grateful for because the pressure is just too great. The sorrow and the sadness. I really get that. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, writes in Living the Science of Mind, in the Science of Mind, we do not say everything is all right when it's all wrong. We do not say peace when there's no peace, but rather we try to discover what is wrong and why we do not have peace. And we do that through our spiritual practice. We do not say that people are not poor or sick or unhappy. We ask why these things should be if the original cause of all things is harmonious, perfect, and happy. So we ask why. But we don't ask why for a debate. We don't ask why for a fix-it solution. We ask why, and then we go into our spiritual practice. And from that place of being open to the why, we get to do what is ours to do, which is our inner work. And when we do our inner work, as I shared earlier, our vibration changes and our sphere of influence changes. Our affluence comes out. So it's not about saying everything's just going to be fine. It's about knowing that even in the darkest of darks, there is some light. And it's not a train. Eric Butterworth in Spiritual Economics, which we just finished reading, he talks about how the lowly oyster is really kind of a okay guy, right? The oyster just goes about doing what is his to do. And occasionally, something in the sand irritates him. And that irritation, it doesn't just live with it. It starts to do things. He starts to produce some liquids. Its body starts creating some protection around it. It doesn't try to get rid of the discomfort. It's working with it in divine partnership. And the result is, of course, a pearl. So no matter what our difficulty or our loss or our issues or our sorrow is about, it's not about doom scrolling to get it to go away from your head. It's about taking a breath and going within. It's about finding that peace that is within us, that peace that passes all understanding, that peace that knows it's all going to be okay. And I'm going to get through it because I've gotten through something similar or something worse, right? But instead of going into our heart, we tend to stay in our heads. And I invite us this season to set up a practice of going within first before we go a little crazy, before we go off on someone. Joan Borskowski writes of gratitude. She has a book, actually, Gratitude, A Way of Living. And she says, take a moment before bed and give thanks for 5 things in your life that don't need to be healed. 5 things that don't need to be healed. Isn't that an interesting way to count one's blessing? Focusing on what's whole, what's working, what's beautiful, Focusing on that, acknowledging that is what's working in my life. There's an old Yiddish proverb that says, if we thanked God for the good things, there'd be no time to think about the bad things. It's not about denying any pain. It's about transforming it into something that's working for our good, something that's working its way through us to release, to forgive, to bless on its way out. So here's your Thanksgiving assignment. 50 things. 50 things. And look, I've got the pages, numbers, right? 50 lines. I invite all of us just to take a half an hour. Maybe it's an hour, I don't know. But just be grateful for the little things, right? For the morning sunlight, for a neighbor's laugh, for a cup of coffee, for that smell of a baked pie, for that breath you just took, for the roof over your head, for this community. This is, I got 3 of them right here for you, right? I'm going to get you started. But it's not about thinking it. It's about feeling it. It's about taking that pen in your hand and just go through it. Don't overthink it. I bet each of us can put down 50 things in less than an hour. In less than an hour. Don't overthink it. You're not writing world peace. You're just giving thanks. You're counting your blessings. And then let's take a knowledge of how we're feeling after we're done. Are we feeling that love? Have we made that 18-inch move, right? Because somewhere around number 15 or 20, right, it's no longer your head that's writing. It's your heart. I promise you. I promise you. Ernest Holmes. If we wish to come to the Spirit for healing of our wounds, let us come in peace with spontaneous joy. For the Spirit is joy. Let us come with thanksgiving, for a thankful heart is harmony with life. Harmony with life. I want to close with Emoto. What the world needs now is gratitude. If you open your eyes, you will see the world is so full. You will see the world is so full. There is so much that deserves your gratitude. And when you have become the embodiment of gratitude, you yourself will be a beautiful, shining crystal of light. So let's get our crystal consciousness on, shall we? 50 things. And maybe you take 2 pieces of paper because maybe you want 100. Okay? We're all overachievers. So, it's the seasons for blessings, so much more than any of the other stuff that we put around it. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and I am blessed to know each and every one of you, and that is the truth. Namaste.
Well, that was a